Okay, so for this project, you are going to turn yourself into a Halloween character. On the blog, you'll see some examples. Anything is the limit. You know, you really can do a lot of different things. There are tutorials out there too on the internet. If you search Halloween Photoshop tutorial, you'll probably find lots of great ones as well. Okay, so grab your photograph, you know, whether you've taken it in Photo Booth or you've gotten it from somewhere else. The Photo Booth photos are quite large. Let's look at their resolution, image size. They're 72. So what we're going to do is raise the resolution up a bit while making the photograph smaller. And here's how you do it. You unclick that resample image box, and then let's drop our width to 10 as our maximum size. So our final picture will be 10 by 6 in this instance. It's raised up its resolution a bit, which is nice. So then we'll say OK. All right, now we're going to use a filter that's called Liquify on our image. And I recommend that before you start liquifying, you copy your picture. So unlock it by double clicking, and then just drag that layer into the little copy icon so that you have two. And you can turn the other one, the extra one, off the eyeball. But that way, if you mess up, you still have your photo and you don't have to go back and take it again. Now, once you have that done, now we're going to actually use the filter. And to get to it, you go to Filter, and then you choose Liquify. See where that is? It's right at the top. Liquify brings you into a little window that is just for this filter. And it'll let you do a lot of really cool things. Once you're in Liquify, I'm going to show that one more time. I'm going to go to Filter, choose Liquify. Then you get this box. And there's brushes that you can use with it, and you can adjust the brush size. Right now, my brush size is huge. I'm going to drop that down to smaller. You can zoom in if you want to. I'm going to zoom in a little. Ooh, that's way too much. Not that much. Zoom in a bit. And now we can play around with these tools. And the very first one is Forward Warp. If you click it, you can, and you want to adjust the brush size so that it's not all over your whole face. So you can go and you can do things like pull with Forward Warp. So I could make my chin really long if I wanted. Or I could do things like give myself really big earlobes. Or, whatever. There's all kinds of things you can do with pulling your features. Now the next box, or the next tool, is Reconstruct. That's so if you don't like what you did, you can put it back. Okay, as long as you haven't exited the Liquify, you can always put it back. You can do it all at once, too, if you just choose Reconstruct, and it'll put everything back. So the one under it is Twirl, and they have that one basically in Photo Booth, but you can do it here, and you can control it a lot more, because you can twirl as much as you want. So I'm going to twirl my nose a little bit. Let's see, I need a brush that's maybe a little bigger. Now you can also go the opposite direction if you hold down Option, and you'll go the other way, like so. If your brush is too big, it might cause you problems. If the brush is too small, it might cause you problems too. So if it's not quite working, just adjust the brush differently. And then you can also, using the third tool down, or excuse me, fourth tool down, you can do pucker. Pucker is going to make features smaller. So you can do things like give yourself a really tiny little mouth. The one directly under that is bloat. And that will let you make features big. So you can do things like give yourself a big clown nose. Or if you want to give yourself kind of anime eyes. Let me drop my brush size a little. So I just get the eyes. But I could go and I could give myself much bigger eyes. Now the other tools down here, you can try them out, but I find like at least the next two down, push left and mirror, they're really hard to get to do much. But you can, try it. Basically, it kind of really destroys the image quite a lot. And the mirror one too, it's also very destructive. So I usually avoid those. Turbulence as well will kind of move everything at once. I'm undoing as I go, so I'm just doing Command Z's. But you could always click Reconstruct too. The masking will let you freeze parts. And so the way you might want to use that, say you just want to mess with your mouth, you might freeze the areas around it. Let me show that. So I'm going to use a small brush, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to paint over the parts I don't want to move, right? And that's going to freeze those features. And then I can go, and now when I use something like, let's use pucker, I'll make the brush a little bigger again. Ooh, it's going huge. It's because this is kind of low res. But it'll, kind of attempt to keep those features that you've frozen from moving at all, which can help you out there. Now once you like it, you can just, and actually the other one is going to erase what you masked. So, once you're done, you can just take that off and see if you like whatever it is that you did.
I did the bad.
All right, now once you click out of it, then you've pretty much finished that transformation, and it'll save it. Then figure out what you want to make yourself, or you might even want to start fresh once you kind of have an idea. So do you want to be a clown? Do you want to be, you could, paint your skin blue and be a Smurf. That can be fun. So I'll use color replacement, and I'll go in there and paint my skin bluish. Let's go for a little. You could become a green alien and give yourself antennae. I did that once. I took the antennae from a snail and used it. It looked kind of cool. Be a vampire, be whatever you want. Be scary, be pretty, be whatever you want. So here's kind of the Smurf kind of idea. And then I might go and get like the costume and change my hair out, you know, whatever. Here's another cool thing you can do. Okay, so one other thing you can do is give yourself a kind of a cracked skin or wounds on your face, and you can do that through using texture. And this texture is it's in the handout folder. There's a folder called High Res Textures, so you can find this one there if you want. What I'm going to do is first drag it in to Photoshop or into my file, and I'll make it way smaller. And kind of position it over my face, and, you know, just look and see the size of the cracks. I could rotate this too, possibly. Maybe I'll make it bigger though, actually, so that I can get on my neck area too. Okay, so once you have that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the blue painted face, and I'll turn on my normal picture. So I'm going to set this photo so that it's no longer on normal blending mode, and I'm going to change it to color burn. And see what that's done now? It's like really made kind of it look like there's ugly, dark, scary marks, right? There's other options too that are going to look a little different. So linear burn is darker. Multiply is a little bit less dark, a little bit less red. You could try overlay, and that's a bit brighter. That one's not bad. It just makes everything look brighter. And then the trick to making it look good is to use the mask option. And so you're going to paint out pieces. And, you know, you could always flip it if you want to. Like, I might want to put this big piece down here. Let me try that. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. Yeah, that's maybe better. And now I'm going to put a mask on that layer. And remember, painting into the mask now, if I paint with black paint, normal brush, not color replacement or anything else. And let me get back to just a round brush. I'll use a soft brush. So I'm going to want to go ahead and get rid of all that extra part, right? I'll just erase it. I'm going to blend in that texture. And this is the exact same thing we did with that baby that we turned into the pear. It's just using it in a different application. So you'll just use a soft brush, and then you might zoom in and go in with a small brush. I'm using my brackets to make it small. And then lower opacity to kind of fine-tune parts. And, you know, if there's any area where it doesn't look that great, just kind of maybe erase it. So, you know, you would just keep working into that to kind of get it to look good. Erase the parts you don't want. Of course, you're going to erase maybe where it's on the teeth. That doesn't really make sense to have it there. So you just continue working. Now, on the internet, too, let me just kind of show you what's out there, because there's some really neat things you can do tutorial-wise. So if I go and search Halloween Photoshop tutorials. And here's 17 of them. Or here's another set of 20. Put a link to another site in the handout folder as well that has some more. So you can go there, and it's 45 horrifying Photoshop tutorials. And that one has some interesting looking monsters, wounds, scary eyes. So this one's pretty good. This link is in the handout folder in the tutorial folder. So you're welcome to use these if you like. Of course, it's not necessary. I do want you guys to end up putting your picture on a background. So think about, depending on what you make yourself, what would be a suitable background for your character. And when you're finished, you can just go ahead and turn it in. Just name it last name, first name, Halloween.